Hello everyone and welcome to the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is a crafty podcast about crochet, knitting mainly, and sometimes some sewing and other crafty bits. This is episode number 73 and it's been a long time since I've last podcasted, it feels like. You can find the show notes. See, I've forgotten my spiel. You can find the show notes for this podcast on my blog, which is cherryheart.co.uk, and I shall also place a link in the down bar below. What else do I say? Instagram. I'm on Instagram as Sandra Cherry HRT, and you can find me elsewhere around the web as Cherry Heart. And there's also a Ravelry group for this podcast, or for Cherry Heart generally, which is called Cherry Heart's Cozy Corner, that you can search on the Groups tab in Ravelry. So how are you? How have you been? Have you had a nice summer, if you were having summer? Did you get a break? We've had a nice, well, it feels like a nice long holiday here, but it also feels like it was very busy. Certainly the last couple of weeks which have ended in manic busyness, it feels. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of things settling down and feeling a little bit more normal again, I think. I normally get that kind of feeling at this time of year though, I guess. So yeah, it's like what's the word? An enhanced version of the normal back to school manic that we've had. Lots of things going on. Anyway, I hope you had a nice break too, if you had one. So I'm going to start with a couple of quick podmin thing, which is this thing. Woo! So this is my Nature's Walk blanket, and it's part of a new crochet along that I'm doing with Black Sheep Wools. If you follow me on Instagram or if you're subscribed to the blog, hopefully you've already seen it. So I'm not really going to talk about it now, I just wanted to acknowledge it in case you were wondering why I hadn't mentioned it. But I will do a special, I'll record a special little video, and I'll probably pop it up after I've done this one. And if you're interested in joining in with that or want to know more about that, I'll chat about that then. So yeah, I'll save that for something separate. What I am going to do is try and show you some of the things I finished while we were on holiday. So yeah, I've got quite a few finishes. I don't think I'm even going to talk about them all because I don't think I'll have time. That's what I was going to say. It would make the podcast too long. So I'll do a few of them and I'll save some till next time. So my first one I'm wearing. Let me show up and show up. Let me stand up and show you properly. Oh, here we are. Here it is in all its glory. Yeah, this is the Florrie cardigan, by the way it's called. I can't remember the designer name now. I will pop it in the show notes. Yes, because it feels like I finished it. Sorry, I stand up to show you and then it feels weird not looking at you while I'm talking. Let me show you the back and give you a little twirl so you can see the whole thing. Yeah, I'll sit down now because that feels a bit awkward standing up there and chatting to you. Yes, what was I saying? Yes, I finished it a while ago now. I think you've seen some in progress ones if you've been here for previous podcasts. So I was getting there and yeah, I have no idea even what I want to say about it now. I think my major concern was sizing. As I sort of settled down into it, my gauge kind of tightened quite a bit, which is strange because normally I sort of loosen up a bit as I get into it. Anyway, my gauge had tightened, so I was ending up with quite a smaller size than I was aiming for. It still fit me okay, but this is supposed to be made with quite a bit of positive ease, and I'd kind of lost all my positive ease in my, with my gauge being quite off. So yeah, so I was a little bit concerned about that, but I kind of just ignored it and carried on knitting anyway, basically. But I did pick up some more stitches for the sleeves. So, I can't even remember what size I made now. Again, it'll be on show notes if you particularly want to know. But whatever size it was that I made for the body, I kind of followed the instructions for a couple of more sizes up for the sleeves. Quite a few more actually. But I'm quite glad I did, because that kind of works out nicely. And then what I did was I kind of blocked the body reasonably aggressively, basically, to kind of force that ease back into it. And when I also added some repeats, so this lovely lace bit at the end, which is really pretty. I can't even remember how many repeats it was supposed to be, but I did add quite a few. I think I might have added, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't remember. There's 4 and I added 4, or if there was 6 and I added 2. I think there might have even just been 4 or 5 and I added the rest, because I seem to remember thinking I needed that extra, I wanted the extra length basically. Yeah, but anyway, as I say, I did give it quite an aggressive block. I didn't block the sleeves so aggressively because I knew I'd kind of made those bigger, so I kind of just let those just lay as they were. But this body I kind of stretched and pinned out quite a bit. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I made sure my sleeves were quite nice and long, because that's something I never get in the shops. They're normally sort of here, and then after a few wears they tend to go up here, which is really annoying. So yeah, I made sure I had lots of lovely length in those. And yeah, I'm just really so pleased with it. This yarn was from Amy, who is Little Tailoress on Instagram, and her yarn is called Dandelion and Dogwood. And it was her Clouds base in, I think it's Married in Jeans, the colourway. But yeah, I love the colour, I love the way it turned out, I love the fit that I ended up getting, even if it was by force, brute force. Yeah, really happy with it. It was a really lovely knit. I did have some jiggery pokery with, where did I get stuck? I got stuck somewhere around adding the sleeves or something. Or was it adding the collar? Yeah, I confused myself massively doing that. But once I'd got over that sort of little hurdle, and I think that was just me, most of the comments on the pattern seemed to be, oh yeah, lovely construction, really good, easy to follow. So that's probably me just having a moment. Yeah, but other than that, it was just pure joy through and through. So yes, I'm very happy with it. It's a garment and it fits and it kind of looks the way I imagined it would. Normally I've sort of got this picture in my head, and I start off with this picture in my head and I'm all excited because that's how it's going to turn out, and then kind of as I progress through the make, it seems to deviate further and further from my imagined picture, and then I end up with something that I feel a bit like, no, it's okay, but it's not what I wanted it to be. But this is everything I wanted it to be, so I'm very happy. Yes, so that was that one. That was one of my first finishes. Then I have socks, of course, little Socklingtons. What can I tell you about these? I started knitting these after Fiberease because I got this yarn from Fiberease from the Fibre Fox, and I can't remember the colourway. It's something to do with rainbows. It might be Unicorn Rainbow or Unicorn Rainbow 2 or something. I think I showed you the start of these on my previous podcast if you were here. But yeah, so I just finished those off and I like how they turned out. They have got this, I'd meant to put a fish lips kiss in here and heel in, and I didn't. I did a heel turn and gusset for reasons unknown even to myself, and so I have ended up with this different area where the yarn has pulled differently across the gusset, which, me being me, wouldn't have been my first choice. I do quite like the effect, but I would have wanted either that effect all over or this effect all over, because that's just the way I am. But you know, it's alright. I still like them. They're kind of funky. So yes, those finished nice and quickly. And while we're talking about socks, actually, I wanted to say that Ali, lovely, lovely Ali of Little Drops of Wonderful, who is Starry Eyes Ali on Instagram, is having her Strictly Sock Along again. Yay! And Strictly is nearly here. It's starting here. Well, it's starting for us in the UK. They're having the launch show. The launch show is on Saturday. And I don't even know what I'm making yet. Oh my goodness, I need to sort myself out. Yeah, so Strictly, no. Ali is running her Strictly Sock Along, where you make socks while you watch Strictly. Is kind of the basic premise of it, and then you can kind of enter them into her... Where have all my words gone? I was going to say giveaway, but you know, you make the socks and into those, and then you get a chance to win prizes and so on. But if you pop over to Ali's you know, information on that, again, I'll put links in the show notes and everything. She has a quite a lenient approach to rule bending, so yeah, if you think you can't manage a pair of socks and while you're focusing on Strictly, there are ways and means. That's all I'm saying. There are ways and means. Anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning it, other than I'm excited and I need to sort out the socks I'm going to make for it because I want to join in, is I thought I would do a little discount on my sock patterns, kind of in honour of her Strictly Sock Along celebration. So yes, so I'm going to offer a 15% discount code, and my screen that I was going to look at to tell you the code has just gone blank, so that's helpful. Let's bring it up again and then I can tell you. So it's going to be LDW for Little Drops of Wonderful, SSAL for Strictly Sock Along, and then 19 for this year. So LDW SSAL 19. So yeah, if you wanted to get one of my sock patterns, if you pop along and put that code in, I'll put it down here, at the checkout, then you can get 50% off, and you can celebrate with Strictly Sock Along making too. It's fun, I like it. Yeah, so that's that one. Well, the pattern for this, by the way, is basically my pick and mix socks pattern I've used elements of, with the exception of the heel, because I'm still working on my square heels, so this was just another chance to iron out the kinks in the square heels. So yes, that's all we need to say about that. And then my final finished object, my final finished done thing, is my hexagon cushion. Oh no, it's upside down. Ta-da! There we go. There it is, the right way up. So, again, if you were here last time, you will have seen this as a work in progress, where I just had the hexagons. I can't remember what stage it was at, to be honest. I don't know if I had this bit on or not. I can't remember. But yes, I've got these mini hexagons. I've put the pattern for these up on the blog, and this is free, and they are called the honeybee hexagons. So if you can either scroll back a few posts, or it's on, you know, it's on the shop pages, in the pattern shop pages. But it is just for the hexagons, not for the cushion. It's the hexagons. So I've written up how I did the whole hexagon, and I've also written up these little half hexes, and I've even, so there's half hexes that way with a flat top, there's a half hexie with a pointed top, and I also put in these sort of slightly bigger, I'm calling them 3/4 hexagons because it kind of only takes off, kind of draws a line like that, if you can imagine. So it's like a 3/4 hexagon. I put one of those in too, just because I used them on my side, and it seemed to fit quite well. I've put a little bee on there as well. There he is. So I just made him up, as you can probably tell. Yeah, so just by striping some yarn, and then I gave him some little pink wings, and I just kind of sewed it all into place on the crochet as best I could. I gave him a little pink eye, which I'm not sure was the best plan. Yeah, maybe that makes him look slightly unwell, but never mind. It's done. And I wanted, this is based on a sewn cushion that I made a lot of years ago, and in the sewn version I had English paper piecing fabric here and a piece of lace here and linen here, and the bee was a plique on, and I had a sort of little trail. So I tried to replicate that by stitching in the wool, but it was just, I couldn't get it looking neat, it just looked messy, so I took it out again and just left it as bee. So yeah, there it is. And then on the back I just went for some simple and plain fabric. I rescued this zip from the fabric cushion that kind of had just seen a lot of abuse and wear and kind of died to death, so I repurposed the zip, and then I just added this binding. I had some Liberty in my stash, and I thought that's just the right colours. So I think, and it's kind of flowery, so it fits with my bee theme. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. I've had some requests, because this bit's free, I've had some requests for how I did the other side, and I have meant to jot it down. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure I quite remember. I think it was fairly simple though. It's yeah, so that I've just done UK trebles, and then in that point one I've just done treble space treble, and then I've just skipped some there just to bring it. I didn't even do a decrease is what I'm saying. I literally just put a treble in, stitched those stitches right in that kind of dip there, and then just carried on. So it's literally as simple as that. That's all I did to make a little zigzag just to fit in with those points. So hopefully you can kind of see, and then I just squared it off at the end real quick. I will try and note it down at some point. I can't remember exactly what I did, and I'll have to sort of study this and have a look. And there's been so much going on, I've got lots to do still, so I don't think I'm going to do it immediately, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I will try to do it at some point. But yes, I'm happy with how my Buzzy Bee turned out. Don't really want to use it as a cushion anymore. What's the point of making a cushion if you're not going to use it as a cushion? I could put it up in my room and sort of have it as a more decorative thing, but really you can't do that with everything, can you? Just use it. Just use it and appreciate it while it's here. That's what is best. Right, so that's all the things that I've done that I've got to show you, and I've only got one thing on the go really, one thing that I'm doing at the moment, apart from a long-term whip. So I'll show you the thing that I'm doing at the moment. So this is in my lovely Herb's Black Beginner bag, and I think you might, if you're a knitter, you might recognise this when I hold it up. There we go. I've just split for the sleeves, and this is the back. I'm just knitting up here now. And it's, I'm not quite sure how you say this word. Tigna, maybe? Tigna. Yeah, so it's that one. I just really like this kind of cropped but flary out thing that it's got going on. So I picked this to do, and yeah, so far so good. I'm slightly worried how quick I'm getting through my yarn. This is my second one, and as you can see I've only got the dregs of that left, and I've got one more. So this can be a 2, like just a 2 skein if you're small enough, but I didn't think What size did it again? I'm not sure. I think I went for large. I think there was an extra small, small, medium, and I went for the large. I think that's right. Again, it's supposed to have a reasonable amount of positive ease, so that seemed like it was going to do what I wanted. But it does mean I needed 3 hanks, which is fine. I've got 3. I just thought I would only use a little bit of the third one because it's the first one that notches up into the 3 size, so I thought, oh, I probably won't need much of it, but I've still got the rest of the back to do, the whole of the front to do, and the sleeves, but the sleeves are just little short sleeves, so I'm sure it'll be fine. I just didn't expect to get through it quite that quickly. Yes, so my only concern with this one is the complete opposite, is that it might turn out too big. I've got gauge beautifully on this. It'll only need a very light little block. I kind of wish I used these needles. I'm using 4 mils. Kind of wishing I used it on this because I'm sure my gauge would have come out just perfectly for this as well if I'd used 4. Anyway, you live and learn, don't you? Well, that's the idea. I'm not sure if I always do. Yes, anyway, it looks quite wide. I guess not really when you hold it up, like compared to this. It's not. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. Anyway, I took this away on holiday. I started this just before we went away. I took it away on holiday and actually got most of this. Well, I did get the lace finished, so I was only a few rows in, and I got the whole little lace done while I was on holiday, which is very rare for me. Normally don't get much done while we was away, but we just went down to Dorset. We had an absolute glorious week the week before we went. We went down to Dorset and it was a bit of a mixed bag. It was fine. Most of the time it was absolutely fine. It was sort of forecast to rain every single day, so we thought it was going to be a little bit miserable, to be honest. But as it turned out, we got away quite lightly, and we only really rained on 2 days. One of those, we kind of, had a half day and then kind of managed to stumble through the rest of the day, and then the other day was a bit of a washout and we kind of didn't do much. But it was fine. We kind of treated it as a rest day. I got lots of knitting done. We kind of played games and, sort of went out for dinner later. It was all right, actually. Yeah. And then we came back and the weather picked up again. So we just picked the worst week to go on holiday, I think. But that's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? How are we doing for time? Oh, we're not doing too bad at all, actually. Not too bad at all. Patterns in progress, pips is sort of pretty much that. I have got a couple of other bits that are supposed to be chugging along in the background, but quite frankly, with getting all that out and all the other hoo-ha that's been going on back in the old homestead, not bad things, by the way, just lots of logistical situations to sort out. Yeah, what with sorting all that out as well, I just haven't had a minute to even think about them. So yeah, they haven't really moved much in the last month or so. So nothing to report there, basically, really. What else do I normally talk about? Podmail, again, haven't really looked at, sorry. I know I say that way too often. I will come back to those and start answering those again. And then goodies. The only goodie I have is this one. I haven't bought any yarn because it was Fibre East at the end of July. So I talked about that last time. But I did get this, which is this cute little housey necklace. It's got these lovely beads, darling house, and then it's got this little key hanging underneath. Oh, I love it. Right. Sorry about that. I just wanted to check I was getting the name right before I said where I got it from. So where I got this from, in actual fact, was Blue Merlin Makes. So I follow her on Instagram. She's Blue Merlin Makes on there as well. And yeah, she posted these little houses that she'd been making. So I popped over and I just grabbed one. But they're so adorable, and it came really quickly as well. I think she's based in, does it even say on here? Yeah, Canada. shipping from Canada is quite reasonable, and you know, it still takes a while to get over here, obviously, because it's quite a distance, but the shipping from America is really expensive, so there's quite a disparity of postage costs, which I thought was kind of odd. I mean, I know they're separate countries, so obviously they're going to do their own thing, but you know, you would think they'd be both reasonably expensive because they're both reasonably far away. But yes, anyway, that's a by the by, but I just wanted to show you that because it came just before we went away on holiday. So I took it down and wore it in Dorset, and I just think it's really pretty. I love it. Yes, so thank you, Leona. It's beautiful. I think I might leave it there then. That makes it a short little episode, doesn't it? But that's okay because, like I say, I've got the other one to sort out as well. And also I have sort of been trying to get some vloggy footage from the holiday. To be honest, it's probably a bit disjointed and possibly even rubbish. But if I have got anything, or you know, if I can edit it together for you, I'll pop it on in a minute just after the end of this. Yeah, but if it is a bit, you know, if it's really bad and disjointed, then maybe I just won't bother. We'll see what happens. I feel like I'm forgetting lots of things. I don't know if that's just, you know, because I've not been here for a while and my head's not in the game, or whether I'm actually just forgetting lots of things. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not saying anything of any value. I'm not really even being coherent anymore, so I think that signals it's time for me to leave. Thank you for listening and putting up with my waffle. Yeah, it's very much appreciated, and I shall hopefully speak to you again soon. Bye bye.